One of the things I wanted to ask you is, when you look at the headlines today around what the SEC is doing and what your priorities are, it's hard to tell how much of your focus today is on the stock market writ large versus the world of crypto and trying to figure out the future of Ethereum and other things. How do you see it?
Well, I see it this way. We oversee a $110 trillion capital market. About half of that's the stock market, half, as you might know, is the bond markets and other markets. Crypto is a small piece of our overall markets, but it's an outsized piece of the scams and frauds and problems in our markets, because without prejudging any one token, much of this field is non-compliant with the protections of our securities laws. And so thus, you end up with like an outsized ratio of journalist questions and crypto journalists to market cap.
But is that a function also of the fact that that's where your attention is too?
No, it's a function of where your attention is. Think about it. I've been on your show, what, a dozen times? And every show you ask about crypto. And my guessing is this will be a majority crypto interview, while the capital markets are 110 trillion. So it's also about where the financial media is focused.
Well, I want to ask you actually about a whole bunch of things in the classic stock market.
I'm looking forward to it.
But let me ask you this. Vlad Tenev, Robinhood, you delivered a Wells notice to them. I know that you're not going to want to speak directly to them, but I do want to read you, because what's interesting is literally just yesterday he put out a statement effectively attacking you and the SEC. Brian Armstrong from Coinbase said effectively, welcome to the club. I mean, all of this goes on to Twitter.
So that the listeners, the American public, can understand, we have a really important responsibility as being a cop on the beat and ensuring that people that are asking you to put your money in to buy or sell securities are following the law, so you get disclosures, that you get certain protections. And we have live in-court litigation with at least one of those companies, Coinbase, in front of judges at this point in time.
What is the state of play, though, with Robinhood, to the extent that you can discuss it? And for those investors out there who are watching this morning who might have money at Robinhood, what are they supposed to think about these news reports?
Look, I can't speak to any one company, but stepping back from it, the field of crypto assets, without prejudging any one of them, many of those tokens are securities under the law of the land as interpreted by the U.S. Supreme Court. So we follow that law. And you, the investors, are not getting the required or needed disclosures about those assets. And so, like, this is earnings seasons right now, Andrew. Everybody's asking about what's the earnings release and how many companies are beating earnings or falling behind and so forth. Where is the disclosures from these crypto tokens similar to these season earnings releases?
Well, let me ask you this. Ultimately, and I think this is the big question in crypto land right now, is Ethereum a commodity or is Ethereum a security? And therefore, will there one day be an ETF? That's the fundamental question on the table in crypto land. You agree?
Oh, you're the one that's out there asking the questions. All I would say is, to me, the fundamental question is how do we ensure that the American investor is protected? And right now, they're not getting the required or needed disclosures. And the intermediaries in the center of this rather centralized market generally are conflicted and doing things we would never allow the New York Stock Exchange to do. The New York Stock Exchange is not allowed to trade against the investors.
Okay, but let me ask you about this. You've seen the consensus lawsuit, and I know you have a Wells notice with them as well. This is Patrick Henry saying the following, and I want you to respond to it. Just months after a federal judge sanctioned SEC enforcement lawyers for lying in court, new evidence shows that Chair Gary Gensler himself misled Congress. The testimony to the Financial Services Committee last April, Chair Gensler refused to answer questions about the SEC's classification of Ether, and new court filings show this was an intentional attempt to misrepresent the Commission's position.
We speak to Congress directly in hearings like that, and also directly to members, and we share with them accurately what we're doing, so that the viewers can also understand we don't speak about whether we have an investigation or whether we don't have an investigation, and we don't speak about whether somebody is in our opinion, not following the law unless we actually
Right.
bring a case. So we stay quiet on many
Right.
questions that you might ask at this
Right.
live interview or even
But ultimately,
in
should investors?
a congressional hearing.
There's a lot of folks who bought Ethereum expecting that one day there will be potentially an ETF, and that it will be considered a genuine security that's tradable on these exchanges. Will that happen?
Again, that's something in front of our commission right now. We're a 5-member commission, and those filings will take up at the appropriate time.
Is that something from a timing perspective, though? This is an election year. This administration may be the administration come next year. It may not be the administration. How does that impact the work you're doing?
I'm just focused on how we can do the most for 330 million Americans, what we can do to drive efficiency, resiliency, competition in the equity markets, the treasury markets, the fixed income markets, and yes, also addressing some of the activity in the crypto markets where actors are not uniformly
Right.
following the law. There's a lot of people have lost their hard-earned funds in the field that you seem to be so fascinated
Okay,
with.
I'm going to go to